Kahala Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakahakardash. Double honors to the elder apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, for teaching His word in truth and sincerity. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, and peace and salutations to the sincere Akim that's pushing His word in truth and sincerity to USA Shalom. This is Job 15:6. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee. And we're witnessing that every day here in Babylon, the land of confusion. These Edomites, they double talk themselves, pretty much speak out the side of their neck. They speak out of both sides of their neck, They say one thing and mean another. They mean one thing and then say something else, And what we're witnessing is pure confusion. Confusion at its finest, The leaders of Babylon, the kings, the pharaohs of Babylon, they talk wickedly, man, and they don't talk with any truth. So right now, you have Nero. He gives you Nero and his whole band of flunkies. They give you a whole, different narrative. They give you their own narrative. They don't give you the truth. So you hear a lot of lies. We're winning this war. We're gonna obliterate them. They're gonna do what I tell them to do, or else. All these different ultimatums and different scenarios he's bringing up. But then when you listen to international news, they say a whole different narrative. They give you a whole different narrative. So you truly don't know what's going on. One side is saying something, and the other side is giving you a totally different contrast to the story. But from world news, international news, Babylon is losing this thing, and their tongues is falling on themselves, they all they do is really tell lies, and the funny thing about it is, they'll throw so many different scenarios and so many different storylines at you, while Babylon is in the midst of WW3. You have the country is pretty much divided, man. You got one half of the country, not even one half. You have a portion of the country that actually pays attention to this stuff, and then you have the rest of the country that just wallowing around in their own ignorance, pretty much enjoying themselves, not knowing what's about to come down the pipeline. This is Obadiah 1:6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? And it's through this internet. You just can't get one side of the story. So if you just listen to mainstream media, you're just going to get one side of the story and let Esau tell it. He going to tell you he's on top of the world. When knowing that everything is around him, that's it's pretty much crashing in on him. So it's real interesting to watch, because this is the beginning stages of WW3. The Lord is performing His magnificent work. Very interesting to watch, because you just get so many different stories. There's just so much going on right now, coming out of that Levant, coming out of the so-called Middle East. And Iran is not holding back, man. You know, people took them as being, soft and weak or whatever. But they letting all them surrounding countries have it because they lied in bed with that, they lied in bed with that whore. So you got all these different US fractions, they done built bases in these places, and Iran is just not taking it. They letting them have it, man. All the while they letting Israel have it, and they letting the US have it, but more so these different fractions all around that region. So this is Obadiah 1:7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There was no understanding in them. So, all these countries, they've been laying down with that whore. And that whore is taking his instructions from them small hats, from Amalek, so-called Jews, so-called the people of the promise. They lay down, they taking their orders from them. Those people are also controlled by those top wicked elite bankers. So those top elite bankers, man, they all about confusion, and that's how they make their money, is through confusion, through war. So they allowing these countries, to pretty much go to odds with each other. That's how they set it up, for them to go to odds with each other. And it's going to come a time where, and you starting to see it, it's starting to build up and brew, where these countries are starting to hate that whore. The beast is starting to hate the whore, So it's, like I said, it's real interesting to watch this, because we know that that the Lord is at work, man. They about to implement that draft. The elder brother, Amawanga Barja, he had posted a video earlier about a 52-year-old that just got his draft letter. So it just speaks to how imperative it is to stay diligent in his work. Stay diligent in calling upon the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and praying to the Most High Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai to keep you safe, man. You hope and pray that you're part of that elect remnant, so he'll keep you shielded from all that nonsense. Because you damn sure don't want to be one of those dudes that have to go out there to the Levant, man, and try to fight Esau's battles. This is verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? So yeah, he's slowly but surely, he's destroying them, man. And you see how confused, you see how reckless, you see how unprepared Esau really is. He's just a violent brute beast, and it's being proven, it's being shown that he has no understanding, he has no compassion. He's just a brute, savage animal, and wherever he go, he rape, rob, and murder. Then he pillage the land, So we're witnessing how grimy Esau is, and how much of a liar Esau is, and it's all about him, It's all about them, and it's all about controlling the narrative to make the people think that they're superior, when at the end of the day, man, they're just savages, man. They're just savages. They pretty much was groomed and taught how to speak, taught how to survive, taught how to be civilized, rather. because these are people of the wilderness, man. These are the people of destruction and mayhem and violence. They were given their blessing of the sword, and that's how they walk about the earth. This is Joel 3, verses 1 and 2. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. So we coming into that time, man. We coming into that time when the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to make his appearance, man. He's going to come back to this place and rectify the situation, man. He's coming to get us up out of punishment, Verse 2, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shaphat. We can go into that word. I just want to finish reading this particular verse. And I will plead with them. I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel. And for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So Esau is, he's a wicked beast, man. And he's gathering all these nations into that region for that battle of Armageddon. So we're watching the beginning stages of that. We're watching the beginning stages of World War III, man. And the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is performing a magnificent work, man. And he's going to gather all those nations down there, and that's where he's going to judge them. This is Joel 2 in the interlinear. You go to that word Jehoshaphat. That's Hebrews, and the Strong's Concordance, that's Hebrews, which is H3092, Yahweh Shaphat, and it's Yahweh judges. So the exact terminology that he's using is Yahweh has judged. So he's going to bring them all to that area, all to that region, and he's going to judge them. And everybody gonna get, when it's all said and done, everybody gonna get put back into their proper place. He's gonna restore order to the world, led by Yahweh Shai and King David and his elect remnant, which is the 144,000. And everybody is gonna be put back in their proper place in the world. They're gonna be put back into their proper order. So we're really witnessing the beginning of the end of this, of this era, not the world, but of this era, of this wicked man's rule. We're watching the downfall. We're watching the end of Esau's kingdom. This is coming up on the 250th year of this empire. And as you know, 250 years is pretty much the longevity of an empire. That's when it starts to implode on itself. It starts to crumble. This is 2nd Ezra 16, and I'm gonna read verse 18. Salakia. 2nd Ezra 16, verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So, we're witnessing the beginning of the end of this era, of this kingdom, of this empire, which is the second leg of the Roman Empire, Babylon the Great, which is known as America. And we haven't gotten full blown into this yet, But we're starting to see the beginning of wars. We're starting to see the beginning of great deaths, because like the amount of people that have passed away within the last year is like they. It's probably, it's probably not as great as it's going to be, which I know it's not. We all know it's not. But just the amount of people that's been receiving judgment. What I'm saying? Every day, the Lord's hands down judgment, hands down righteous judgments. And if you have any type of news app, you see that just people are offing themselves, killing each other, and with the beginning of this war brewing, by the time by the time it's all said and done, it's gonna be massive amounts of casualties and dead bodies. With this oil shortage, if it keeps going like that, man, prices and things gonna go up, man. It's gonna create a famine, man. Shelves is gonna start to be empty. Goods and services is not gonna be able to get to its proper places. So you're witnessing all the beginnings of these things. You're witnessing the beginning of sorrows. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are set as scourges for amendment. So it's all starting to trickle down, man. Like this place this era is basically crashing in on itself, man, because of the unrighteousness these people possess, the evilness that these people project, and it's all starting to come out. They came out through the the Grapestein files. These dudes was just out there, just doing the most wicked things they could possibly do to people, And at the end of the day, after they rape you, rob you, murder you, they're gonna eat you, man. So they commit all sorts of abominations and atrocities. So these plagues, like the Lord's gonna start hitting this place with the ill plagues. Right now you witnessing all these different earthquakes and weather changes, weather patterns is just changing, and today is hot as hell, tomorrow is cold as fuck. We witnessed several different signs in the heavens. A comet hit the Ohio Valley about a couple of weeks ago. We've had a blood moon. There's so many different eclipses that's happened within the last few years, man. These are signs that the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, is about to visit this place. He gonna hit this place with plagues worse than Egypt. So we're witnessing the beginning stages of all this. It's a lot here. And this is verse 20, 2nd Ezra 16 and 20. For all these things they have not turned from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So, these people are not going to turn from their wickedness. They not. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has been throwing that spirit on Nero. He's been hardening his heart just like Pharaoh. Who knows what's going through that man's mind? Who knows? Who knows what he actually wants to do? But the Lord is hardening his heart, and he just can't stop. He got to keep going forward. So you're hearing the foolishness that come out of this man's mouth, and you're witnessing the heinous acts that he want to commit on other people, other nations. You know what I'm saying? Just to take their natural resources and things of that nature. Take control of their land. Talking about he gonna bring a democracy to a place that don't nobody want you there, but you're gonna impose yourself on these people. So the Lord gonna destroy them, man. He's gonna destroy this place. This place is gonna go up in nuclear fire. Verse 21, behold, the victuals shall be so good, cheap upon the earth, and they shall think to themselves, to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So, things gonna seem to calm down. You know what I'm saying? This is not the end at the moment. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the end. So things are gonna calm down, and prices might go back to somewhat of a normal, what you're used to. It's still gonna be high, but it's gonna come down to a bit. It's gonna come down a bit where you like, well, you're gonna get some breathing room. You think you're gonna have that time to exhale. You think, you know what I'm saying? You think you're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? You waiting to exhale, and you're gonna get that time to breathe out. And then sure enough, man, the Lord gonna kick it right back in. He's gonna kick it right back in. He's gonna turn on the throttle and he's gonna go into hyper mode. And then you're gonna get that that one event, that false flag event, that event that triggered that MOTB. And then you really got a choice to make. But right now we living in great confusion, man. Great confusion, man. Because you got these Edomites, they all against each other. They can't come together on one accord. They don't see eye to eye. None of these Edomites, whether you're talking about Babylonian Edomites or you talking about them silly ass Amalekites over there who stole our land, none of them are on the same page. And then you got them MAGA bastards. They all in confusion, man. They all at odds with each other. From the lowest level Edomite to the top level Edomite, they all in confusion. Verse 22, 2nd Ezra 16 and 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So we in those times, man. We in those times, and you gonna dodge one bullet and find yourself in the face with the chamber of a higher caliber bullet. So you're not getting out of this, man. The only way you getting out of this without being scorched, with some fire, is if you part of the Lord's elect. This is Micah 2, and I'm gonna read verses 1 and 2. Woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands. So all day long, day and night, man, they conspire more wicked things to do to the people, how to oppress the people, how to squeeze whatever little bit they can out of the people, and they get up early in the morning thinking about how they going, pretty much jerk you, man. Pretty much how they gonna squeeze you even more, get whatever they can out of you. Verse 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses, and they take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. So yeah, he did us dirty. You know what I'm saying? We the true biblical Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and we've been scattered all over the earth. We've been scattered all over the earth, all over this globe, because of our disobedience, because of our negligence in maintaining our relationship with the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, always going off. We were Sodom's children, man, and now you have this awakening where you have a multitude of people that see it, man, and they coming back to the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And then you got 2/3 of our people who just won't see it, won't get it, don't understand it, don't want to understand it. And that was all set up, by the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But Esau has a big hand to play in our destruction here in Babylon, man. he had a big part of taking us down and keeping us oppressed, keeping us from knowing who we really are out here. And you see him doing that to everybody on the planet, everywhere he goes, mainly in where Jake is at, he's trying to just keep that yoke of iron around your neck. Now he's spreading his sickness and his disease to the other nations, to the heathen nations. So the Lord gonna have he gonna have his way with Esau, Edom, and he's gonna have his hand. He gonna have his way with these heathen nations for all the atrocities and oppression that they have committed to the children of Israel, the true children of Israel. So I like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachahak Radash, Abad Babal.